Welcome to another Taco Tuesday. It is an actual Tuesday this time, and hopefully I'm going to be posting this on today's actual Tuesday. Now, I don't really have a title for this aside from it being another taco topic, I guess. And really, these are just going to be mostly updates. But have you ever been disconnected long enough to realize how much we've become slaves to society? Because really, that's essentially my experience, um, is that we've become so programmed to be using our phones and so programmed to be on computers and a bunch of other stuff, of course, that where we get entertainment and at the same time us working for other people, it's really brought us down. Rent has always been at a, you know, incrementally skyrocketing to be a lot more costly than what we could afford as a single person. But I mean, even then, is it really worth it at the end of the day? When we can't grow as an individual? Because I know I certainly am taking all of the physical, mental, and societal pressures amongst the instability of all three of those combined in order to get this up and running between Taco Tuesdays and a video that hopefully I can make in another extra couple weeks' time. Because the second I got disconnected from video games, the second I got disconnected from constantly being online, even if it was for 2 hours, but I mean 2, 3, 4 hours, even sometimes a week, it can really open up your eyes. And I actually made some progress in terms of wanting to know where and what I'm going to do regarding my self-interview video. Because realistically, I wanted to get at least 10 questions. I have 9 written down. Now all I gotta do is write a script, link up with a couple friends, make sure I've got one of them being my cameraman while I'm directing, and then I got the other one that's basically gonna be a stand-in. And even then, with all the timing, that's a bigger project than I've worked on ever so far, I think. And to have that among with maybe opening the doors to other goals with acting, voice acting, all of the above. Like even right now, you're hearing me as just my voice, even though some people can actually go back and look at some other stuff I've done and you can hear my voice, but you could also associate it with my face. In time, that's where we're going right now. I'm actually just in a room where I've got a laptop, a computer monitor, and a bunch of stuff in the room that's a little just too messy to be put on camera. But eventually we're going to get there. I mean, I'm on TikTok. I don't think I have anything where I'm necessarily talking, but for the most part, you get to see where I'm practicing acting. That just fell in line with all the other goals and aspirations that we all have in life. But you know what? Even doing that, applying pressure yourself to use, applying a, applying a pressure to yourself to get to where you want to be, utilizing the stuff that you've already done, is pretty much the only way we need to adapt and move forward within ourselves in order to grow. And you know what? A lot of the time, it's just going to be for the better. Nothing wrong with taking the time to quit something you hate doing, that you've been doing a while, just to look at where you're going next. Or, we can all do things where we just stumble into the next adventure. I know I've been doing that. You kind of live with some toxic people. You kind of end up essentially fumbling through life, not landing any gigs, or you get a job and it's been poor on your mental health, physical health even. But the second that all of that washes away, whether you stumble away from it or, you actually took the time to cut that cord, we can actually move forward and develop something that we want. Even what got me to actually record this right away was having a similar conversation with a friend of mine. And you know what? Given my recent trip, uh, it all makes sense. Because I had that eye opening experience a little bit where nobody's putting ourselves to work but us. And working for other people is kind of an illusion because of that fact. You go to your 9 to 5 job, you instantly start working there, and you last 4 or 5 years. All for what? Because you don't really gain anything. You gain your instant satisfaction of, let's say, paying for Netflix, you pay for your Disney Plus, pay for Amazon Prime, whatever. Pay for Spotify, even. Those are all digital things that you don't get a full satisfaction of. I mean, arguably so. I'm doing this on YouTube and posting this to YouTube, and I'm doing Twitch. Aside from that, when you work for someone else and you're paying other people and then coming out with just enough money to buy yourself that slice of pizza, who are you really doing it all for? Because it makes it harder on you to become or reach. It makes it harder for you to become who you want to be and reach that end goal. And I think that's why I'm doing this especially. Because in order to grow and adapt, well, we're gonna have to make this a habit. Me talking to my phone every Tuesday, or at least technically once a week anyway, considering the first 2 episodes are on 2 different channels, and then that was like a 5 year span, give or take. Not to mention, last week oops, I accidentally kicked my tripod. If that even made a sound, I don't even know until after I'm just posting this. But, bull crap. What the fuck was I thinking? Or what was I saying there? Just a second ago. I got distracted by the kicking of the tripod. Yeah, basically, it's like, nope, brain fart. Okay, whatever. But the point is, everything that's in, like, who are we really doing it for? Because if you're not having something in the physical sense, or have done some progress for yourself, whether it be growing mentally, growing physically, you're basically just trying to fit yourself as a cog in the wheel with the grand scheme of the societal puzzle. And I think that's, like I said, why I'm doing this. Why I make, well, I was gonna say why I'm making you listen, but really I do appreciate any listeners, because if I'm not having any listeners, let alone it be myself, how am I gonna know that I'm growing? That's why I'm also gonna appreciate the person who commented on the last one, where yeah, I might as well just keep on doing this. I kind of posted that last one as a bit of a joke because I actually popped up on YouTube, both my channels actually, and I don't know, I seen the Taco Tuesday thing and I was like, hey, why not bring it back? Podcasting is a thing that I wanted to do. And then there's also the acting part of it. All in all, this is where I'm gonna grow in this society, is by jumping into the entertainment industry. That is where my goal is. Yeah, I might be struggling high school wise. I don't exactly have my diploma. But it doesn't. Oops, I accidentally kicked the right again. But that doesn't stop me from growing in a way that works. Because for those who don't know, and for those who do know, the entertainment industry is basically where I've been learning, and it's where I've been growing technically since high school. I've been in a 12-week entrepreneur program where I spent the time learning to actually end up having a business and investing into a business. I might not have the camera now, but it doesn't take away the skill that I spent to learn what I learned a little bit of. Because I did stick it out to the end. It was 12 weeks only anyway. And then that in itself, well, I went there so I can start up a photography business. That's what it came out as. And now it's developed into basically videography. And then videography has transformed itself as an aspiration to be voice acting and kind of acting. It just all falls in line with each other, given the fact that it all starts with the visual arts. God, I'm good with rhyming and metaphors. Jesus crikey. And I think at the same time, I'm definitely going to be making this a thing. We're at 11 minutes now. And just taking 20 minutes to ramble on into my phone seems like enough to get off my plate and just work on what I need to, come back in a week, and then, cut a little bit more off that steak and chip it away until there's, no, that was a bad metaphor, because that would imply there's nothing left. If I were to say cutting a piece of the steak and then cutting it down to the bone. But then again, that metaphor might work, because if you cut it down to the bone, you get to that core of where you're wanting to be. So whether I'm even referring to your as in the future self that is able to hear this played back, or whether I'm talking to you, the listener, that is not me from the future, because technically it's going to be like multiple versions of the future here. There's going to be the me that's listening to this as I post it into Premiere Pro, and then there's also the future that is probably going to be like, hey, let me see if this was a fail or not, and then click on YouTube and go into it. But I digress. This is where we're going to be. We're going to be breaking away from the internet. Make it a habit to peel yourself away, whether it be off of a singular device or peel yourself entirely, and then get into the physical world, see shit how it is, and just sit down, I don't know, read a book, write a book, do whatever you gotta, just go out there and get a coffee. Enjoy the world for how it is. See yourself where you actually are in life. If you're not happy with yourself, change it. Because like I said, you ain't going nowhere unless you basically better yourself. You can, actually, let me scratch that just a little bit, because there was a reference I was going to make to a conversation or two, too. What was it? Right. That reference, now that I can, because I do post this completely raw anyway, so you're going to hear my thought process, kind of. But your goals aren't going anywhere. You can spend the amount of time that you want. And you can spend the amount of time that you want to do what you need to do. But those goals, aspirations, they're still going to be there for you. You want to be a photographer? Get yourself a camera. Get started. We live in 2022 currently, as of posting this, and our phones are just as good as a DSLR. It's what set me back from doing photography, because at this rate, people are taking photos of themselves with the latest Samsung camera or the latest iPhone camera, and really those are just as good, if not, depending on the camera you have, can be better. But taking the photo is also a lot different than taking it, putting it into a program, making sure you do touch-ups, everything you need to make it the prime possible. But even with those goals, even let's say it's photography, and you're in your 20s, just like me. In fact, I'm mid 20s as of this recording, or even these current recordings until 2023. Basically, just enter whatever level of physical pressure you have to get yourself what you need. Apply physical pressure to yourself. Go get that camera. Go pick up a weight. Go put yourself on camera. Do whatever you have to get yourself and that ball rolling. Because you can be in your 30s, 40s. We all have a different prime. And even the conversation I've had really, really is eye-opening. Because when you put yourself up to the way the societal standards are, you're not really going anywhere. You could easily be stuck trying to compare yourself to the way the rest of your worldview is, which in my case is being fully educated and articulated by the time you reach 16, so you can actually have a part-time job at the earliest possible age it is legal to work. And yet you can be just like the way I was in high school. I think I was grade 9 and grade 10, so like 14, 15, I made out an actual plan and printed it. And it was a detailed plan on how I was going to live my life to the end of high school and technically beyond high school, where I was going to get that job I wanted at 16. I was going to live with a few roommates that were friends. And then I was going to bloom from there. And you know what? None of that happened. In short, I was out of town for about 5-6 years. In short, I'm no longer friends with those people. They are more like acquaintances at this point. I love them dearly, but things change. And sometimes it's not something we can be extremely happy about. But if you take that moment where you're sitting down with that coffee, even unplug from music, just listen to the sounds of the people. Even have yourself a book. Close your eyes, meditate, open your eyes, and write down the things that you want to do. And from there, like myself, theoretically, and I say theoretically because who knows how I'm going to see this looking back, whether this is going to be the second or maybe an actual series, like the second episode, or just an actual series. But basically take all the time, write down what your goals are, and then you should be able to blossom and grow. Because unless you can physically see what your goals are, even in written form, it will be one step closer to where you want to be. And where you want to be, hopefully we can see each other at the end. And I guess on that note, as we reach 19 and a half minutes here, I hope to see everybody on the next episode. I hope I can actually have another topic by the time I actually can talk. By the time Taco Tuesday can actually become a thing. We're going to see where this goes. I'm actually really glad I actually even had some inspiration for this episode, because I had no idea where this was going to go. But like I said, now that we're reaching 20 minutes, hopefully I'll see you on the next one.